Hey everybody, welcome back to Health Matters. This is brought to you proudly by Cipla. My name is Ryan O'Connor. It is good to be here again chatting with my favorite athlete of all time. This is a superstar, ladies and gents. Richard Murray, the international Olympic distance triathlete, represented South Africa at 2 Olympic Games, and his latest goal, let me tell you, he's making it look so easy to qualify for Olympics and represent South Africa a little bit later on this year. Over the past 15 years, I look at the CV, we'd be here for the whole podcast if I ran through the list of this gentleman's achievements. There literally isn't one that he hasn't smashed in terms of records broken and just putting his body through the extreme to be the very best of the best. Richard is a 3-time world duathlon champion. Just to add, Matt, if you think triathlons is where it ends for Richard Murray, no, sir. No, ma'am. It continues. And of course, finishing 4th in the Rio Olympic Games in 2016. It's long overdue, this chat, because it's been a while since I've chatted to him. Richard Murray, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, how are you doing? It's been months, actually maybe years, maybe.
Yes,
even.
Absolutely. Listen, it's so lekker to touch base and catch up with you in 2024 because we're in another Olympic year, and as you set your kind of mind on the and focus on the next goal, there's obviously still so much time left in terms of just getting your body ready and just making sure your mind and body are in sync for that. How are you feeling? How are things going?
It's going pretty well. It's been a pretty odd roller coaster the last week or two. We had the first race of the year in Abu Dhabi last weekend. It got cancelled due to heavy rain, thunderstorms and clouds and stuff. So we went there kind of for a nice staycation there in Abu Dhabi. No, apart from that, the training's been going pretty well. We spent some time in Windhoek, Namibia at altitude, pretty close to South Africa for a bit. And yeah, the training's been going pretty well. Had to change plans on race schedule a little bit because the first one got cancelled. But looking forward to the lead up now this weekend, going to Swakopmund in Namibia for the kind of first real race of the season. And then head off to go and see the wife again back in the Netherlands right after that.
Yeah. I look back at the career, and you get to a time in your career when you start to be able to have the fortune of looking back. I know you still have plenty of miles left in the body to go. We talk about the Olympics and the upcoming Olympics, and you're looking in great condition. I think it's going to be a great Olympics for you. But looking back, I mean, at the career, are there moments that kind of stand out? And it's always, it's like choosing your favorite child if you've got more than one. You kind of look back at your career and you say, help us to handpick some of the special moments of your career. But the ones that really were, the icing, the cherry on top of the cake in terms of your career so far, what would they be?
Yeah, so there's a couple different versions of that, I think, because sure. I got the one at the start of my career when I kind of started to hit the scene in 2012, 2011, where I won Hamburg in 2012. That was my big breakthrough race. That year I got on 3 podiums. So that year was kind of my breakthrough season. And then it took me a couple, I was kind of getting into the flow, kind of going towards 2017. I raced against the Brownlees and then for many years, the Brownlee brothers in triathlon. And I managed to beat them in 1 or 2 races. And for me, beating my kind of my arch enemies in triathlon was also a big moment. Yeah. And then going to the Olympics after in 2016, I bust my collarbone 4 months out from the Olympics, and I had 4 months to get ready. So that was also in itself coming forth after that setback was also quite something that I, am proud of going through. So I think it's more or less the scenarios that you have to deal with in life that have really made things worthwhile. And you look back on it and think, wow, that was quite special.
Absolutely. And now, obviously, looking at the year ahead and realizing how important recovery is. I know that you've been aware of that for a long time, and we've had these huge advancements in products that are out there to help with that recovery process. You don't have to be maybe Olympic athlete to realize that when you go out for a weekend cycle or a weekend triathlon, and you come back and you're feeling absolutely shattered for the next a week or two. In your line of work, you can't afford to be shattered for the next week or two. Recovery is key, and in this year where we've got these rapid advancements, it's obviously something that's a big makeup in what you use.
Yeah, so I think the one real important thing is recovery is the most important part of training. So you can train as hard as you want. If you don't recover hard, unfortunately, you're going to fall apart.
Yeah,
and that's one thing over the years. Obviously, with my coaches as well, we've looked into obviously taking blood and things to make sure I stay on top of the certain levels of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, all those things that I need in my system to function at like a high performance level.
Yeah.
And definitely burning through iron stores, magnesium stores, all these things. These are now all part of that. And if you don't replace those, then you come into issues. And that's wonderful. But obviously, be able to find Ultimag, the brand, and they've been able to keep me on top of those stores of Ultimag, of magnesium and iron and those things to kind of keep the body on ready to fire when it needs to.
You've been, we talk about being physically fit, but you've been one of those athletes. You talk about those big steps that you've overcome mentally and mental preparation for an event like the Olympics. It gets to, I look at my own career, and I've been on radio for so long that every morning I get up, people say, how do you get up so early to do it? Now, I love it and I still want to do it. But people say, aren't you just tired of all the preparation that goes into it? Mine is on a totally different scale, but yours, from a mental point of view, you've got such strong stamina because you've been doing this not just for 2 Olympics. This is your 3rd Olympic that you're coming into going, I've got to be mentally right to prepare myself for this Olympics. How is that mental preparation ahead of an event like the Olympics?
Yeah, so I think the Olympics, luckily, it's not my first rodeo, so that definitely helps out psychologically. You kind of know, to be able to understand where you need to be at what point, when you should start tapering, what races you should do. So it's kind of like I've done it before, but obviously I'm getting older, so I'm not 25, 22 anymore. So I've had to adjust those to a certain degree. And I think psychologically know that I can't do what I did when I was 20, because it's very difficult to now adjust that. But I think going into it, it is quite special. And I think competing, my wife, Rachel Klammer, she represents the Netherlands, and she's also going. So we're going to go together, hopefully, to the Olympics, which is quite, as a husband and wife, quite special.
Yeah.
I think it's psychologically, you definitely have to be doing everything you can. I think it's difficult, obviously, the training and the preparation and those things, it takes a lot out of you. But in the end of the day, it is just another race. It's the same like your job. If you go to your job and you have a big presentation you got to do, if you do lots of presentations, you get a bit more used to them. And I think you get a little bit more streamlined and more relaxed in it. But it's still, to be able to take it in and enjoy those moments is the key part.
You've been such a great representative for Brand South Africa and Sports South Africa. What motivates Richard Murray? What drives you? Where do you get your drive? Where do you get your motivation from?
Yeah, I grew up, I was running when I was probably 5, 6 years old. So I think the sports world is kind of a little bit built into my genetics. And my father also comes from the endurance, motorcycle racing, enduro racing. He did the Dakar Rally, all these crazy motorcycle events. So it's definitely instilled in me from a young kid. And I think, even when I retire one day, I'm still going to continue doing sports and still stay in that realm. So I've also started coaching the last 2 years. So I'm going to transition in the next couple of years to becoming a coach as well, which will stay in the field of sports. I just, enjoy going out and exercising more or less. So I think when I go away from the competitive side, I think just keeping fit and active, it is a sort of drug, a sports. It kind of gets you really hooked. And then, once you're in it, you kind of get a good flow and you feel good about yourself. So I think that's important to have for everyone. And just to go out there and to, whether it's going to the local park run or going for a walk with your family, whatever that happens to be, just keeping active keeps you positive and happy.
I've always wanted to know, because you travel a lot, and the biggest bugs we pick up are often on flights. We're on a flight somewhere. You can't afford to get sick at all. Do you wear a mask when you hop on a plane?
Yeah, I've been wearing a mask since 2011 or 2012 already. Even on buses, I wear it on trains. I wear it on buses. I wear it on when I'm walking in the big cities and there's hundreds of people all over the place. Like I've got like a bit of a germ phobia.
Exactly.
And people are coughing and I'm freaking out. And I go, no.
And then you get the handshakers. People want to come and shake your hand and you go, no, fist bump. Because that's just a carrier.
I do actually go in for the handshake, and then the wife has a hand sanitizer and she says, honey. And then she gives me the hand.
Richard, I really, your time is always invaluable, and we thank you for being this great inspiration to everyone that's listening to the podcast. We will look forward to following your journey for Olympics this year. Not only that, but just the legacy I think you leave behind. You leave, and when you do decide to call it a day and hang up your bike boots and gear, it'll be a massive void in the space. I think that maybe sometimes when you're in it, you don't realize what a massive role you've had to play in the landscape in South Africa. But just an enormous depth of gratitude to you and your legacy that you've provided for us in South Africa.
No, thank you so much. It's always, it's always nice to be part of something bigger than just yourself. And in the near future, we also intend on setting something up between the countries as well, because my wife is Dutch. So we're going to set up something in Europe, and we're going to try and bring some of the guys when they want to come and compete over in Europe. We want to set up some facilities there so we can kind of give the youth and the guys a bit of a base in Europe so they can come over for the summer and that type of stuff. And that's something that I didn't really have as I was a kid. So if I can try and use that and make that for the younger generation coming up, that would be something, awesome to leave behind and something to grow from, strength to strength as well.
I absolutely love that about the fact that you could choose to live anywhere. In actual fact, you could choose to live in Amsterdam as opposed to being in the Western Cape and spend some of your months here training with your wife. So it just shows you how not only are you talking about Brand South Africa, but you still very much believe in it. And I think that's a huge testament to the country and, of course, to your commitment to the country. So, Richard, all the best. We look forward to seeing you running, and so we can shout at our TV sets and scream for you at the Olympics later on this year. More importantly, you've got some things to focus on over the next couple of weekends as well. So we wish you everything of the best for your training for the year ahead, Richard.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan. And hope everyone all the best, and everyone great. Look after yourselves, and get out there when you can for a jog or a walk.
Incredible. This proudly brought to you by Ultimag Advanced. Just a reminder to like, subscribe on all the various channels, and we'll be back with another Health Matters podcast soon.